On what's plaguing schools: unsafe and unsanitary pit toilets, a lack of decent infrastructure, claims of sexual harassment and abuse. What should we prioritise in order to offer our children not only quality education but a safe environment? I mean, that's basic. Well, joining us from Cape Town now is Interim National Coordinator at Equal Education, Leeanne Jansen-Thomas. Leeanne, thank you for being with us. I don't know if you heard earlier, Basic Education was talking about the pit latrines firstly after the Michael Kumape case, then years later another case, saying that there are now 4,000 schools with only pit latrines. How alarming is that for us?
This is a situation which Equal Education is well aware of. It's been 2 months now since Leeanne Jansen-Thomas died in a pit latrine at her school in the Eastern Cape, and she is the second child that we know of to have died in this horrific manner. But we've stopped having a conversation as a country about sanitation. We've very quickly moved on, and we need to refocus the spotlight on sanitation and poor sanitation as something that is infringing on the right of children to dignity and to health and to an education. There are still far too many schools in this country where there are literally open holes in the ground that children must use as toilets.
So we now have numbers, 4,000 only pit latrines, 3,000 still haven't eradicated pit latrines, although they have other structures. The President was on this. He asked for a plan. Basic Education says it's rejigging all the numbers to make this a quicker process. Surely if you keep up the pressure, if the presidency has the political will, this will happen.
There has been a plan, and we've known the numbers for a long time. Tragically, in the same month that Leeanne Jansen-Thomas died in that pit latrine, the Minister of Basic Education was using public money to defend her case against Equal Education, in which we are trying to tighten the school infrastructure law. This is a law that she and the MECs have been bound to since 2013. 2018 is very late to now say that we must now have a sanitation audit. The law has existed, the plan has existed, and the Minister and the President haven't said a word about that. The plan is called the Norms and Standards. It's the school infrastructure law. What the President should do is instruct the Minister, and she must instruct the MECs to comply with the law.
Yeah, a big deadline apparently missed in November 2016 when it came to making sure there was just basic sanitation and safety. Do you buy the argument that the money has just not been there?
Well, on the one hand, we do need to be investing more in education and in the basic education sector. But on the other hand, the money that is available is not efficiently spent. Vast amounts of money are returned to Treasury, and that's an absolute waste. And we cannot afford for that to be the situation when poor sanitation is fatal. The judgment in the Norms and Standards court case in terms of Equal Education's action to tighten that law is due in June. And should the Bishu High Court agree with Equal Education, that means that there's going to be no more excuses by any of the 9 education MECs for neglecting school infrastructure, which is really important to a quality and equal education for all children. You cannot learn and you cannot teach in an environment where your dignity is infringed upon and your safety is at risk by poor sanitation, but neither if you're in a classroom which is too dark to see the blackboard or to see your books, or in a classroom where the roof is at risk of collapsing on you.
I agree with you wholeheartedly, Leeanne, but 7 billion, the number being bandied about, Basic Education saying just to eradicate pit latrines, surely that's going to involve help, maybe from the private sector, NGOs, everybody coming together. I don't know if we can fit that into the current budget. There are so many priorities. What can be done?
I mean, as you know, there is a horrific amount of irregular and wasteful expenditure. But on the other hand, Equal Education has actually made several submissions to Parliament, urging Parliament to put pressure on Treasury to actually increase money to fund basic education infrastructure. Because what has happened is the consequence of not spending budgets efficiently and effectively has been a downward revision of projected allocations. Equal Education recognizes that we need to have a multifaceted approach to this. So we are busy, we've lobbied Parliament, we're lobbying Treasury, but we are also in conversations with the people that are responsible for building schools, and these are called infrastructure agents. Infrastructure agents can be public works, or they can be entities such as the Development Bank of South Africa or the Kucha Development Corporation. And we recently had a first in meeting with them and saying to them, you are responsible, you have public money entrusted to you to build schools, you need to get on with it.
We've seen some political changes. We've seen many problems in schools. We've only spoken about pit latrines. So let me end with this. Are you confident, are you happy with the current leadership of basic education, at least to take these issues seriously?
We would like to see a demonstration of political will. And what are we to make of a Minister of Basic Education who goes to court to refuse to comply with the law? And what are we to make when there are no consequences for an MEC in the Eastern Cape when a child dies in a pit latrine in his province?
All right, thank you very much. Interim National Coordinator at Equal Education, Leeanne Jansen-Thomas. We take a short break. We'll be back with a recap of tonight's headlines.
Technology is used for both positive and negative.
Some governments block the internet in times of protest.
With this internet blackout, it's impossible for me to do it, so I have to travel to Douala.
This act is a true violation of the rights of citizens.
In Africa, people are always coming up with innovative ways to use technology to solve some of their problems.
The more interesting piece of technology is actually the artificial intelligence.
AI, it's utilizing data to make your life easier.
On Network, we'll give you Africa's technology and social media news.
Catch Network with Spumelele Zondi every Saturday at 8:30 p.m.